Hi, my name is Michael J. Gonzales. If you'd like to hear a little bit more about my show, The Ivory Thread, please go to theivorythread.com and join me at Fringe Festival. I started theater as I got into acting in theater because my therapist said I should try it because I wasn't opening up. So that's how I kind of entered into it. And um, and then from that point, I went into class and studied Meisner and all those things and just fell in love with it. And I was a musician, and I kind of went from being a musician into acting because I loved it so much. So it was just in class, explored a lot of different things, and just yeah, I thought I was love at first sight. Well, originally, I mean, I was composing at a really young age on the piano. It wasn't something I really set out to do. I just started doing it, right? And just being a creative person just seemed to always be a part of my life. And then it ended up being turned into film scoring, and then writing songs, and eventually writing this little play, this one man show. And then from this, a theater company had heard about this Latino guy that writes and performs his stuff, so they reached out to me and asked me to write a screenplay and to star in that. So now I wrote a screenplay. And we're shooting that film actually at the same time that we're doing Fringe. It's kind of complicated August. So now I've written a screenplay, and I've just, I'm really loving it. It's creating. But what I love about it is when you have your bones, I guess, your structure kind of in your mind, just that stream of consciousness that comes after that is just, once it goes, like you can't stop, whether it's this way or this way. It's a rush. I put the show up a few times, and it's a living and breathing thing, right? I mean, in acting, there's a thing called moment to moment, right? Where it's with another actor, but actually that exists like with the audience as well. I mean, it's a living and breathing entity that's reacting to you. And with hopefully in acting, you're responding to something naturally. And, I mean, it's beautiful. It's addicting. So, I mean, I've run this show so many times alone, and then you get it in front of people, and it's just, it's incredible. Well, the show's about me becoming an actor at 50, which was 12 years ago. So I became an actor at 50, but around 60, 2018, something like that, I went down to the senior center because I'm 60 at the LGBT Center here in Hollywood to sign up for some of their programs. And when you sign up for their center, uh, a big surprise to me, you get tickets to the opera, Disneyland, the movies, and you get tickets to all kinds of things. Well, they gave me a ticket to Fringe Fest, and it was a one-man show at their theater over there on McCadden. And so I went. It's just down the street, and I saw this guy's show, and I thought, well, that is really frightening. That's really scary. I think I'll try it. And then, in the program, the director has her information, and she does a workshop, Deborah DeLiso. So I thought, well, I'm going to do her workshop. So in 2019 Fringe, I saw his show in June. And then in October, I was doing her workshop, showed up with a blank notebook. I have no idea what I'm doing. Let's try it. Totally nervous. And then by November, we had put, there were a bunch of us, and we put it up in the theater. And then you get into that circle, and everyone starts doing Fringe. And okay, I guess that's what you do. You do Fringe. I didn't really know much about it other than seeing a few plays here and there. And then I was getting ready to do it and got a poster made and did all that. And then COVID hit, and then the whole thing dropped. And I had applied for the scholarship, and I didn't get it. And I was kind of hoping for that. But then, so that got shut down. Well, in 2021, they brought it back. And it was like hit and miss. Okay, what are we doing? Are we doing it? What are we doing? It was anyway. It's been interesting. Applied for the scholarship, and I got it this time, the diversity scholarship. And now that I thought, well, this is a great start and a lot of terrific momentum to start with it. But this is my first theater production, I guess, where I'm the producer. And yeah, it's like, wow, I had no idea. Just there's a lot involved. Sometimes I feel like I like I got on a roller coaster and I'm like halfway through the ride, like you can't really get off. You're kind of committed at that point. So that's how. So now I'm doing it, and I'm thrilled. It's very exciting. It's a lot of work, but it's very exciting, and I'm thrilled. Well, when I first started with we'll start in 2000 when I was going to do 2020. I was going to the meetings and all that right before COVID really hit, like in the early part of the year, January, February. And I was going to the meeting with Matthew Quinn, but he knows so much and he's so generous with information on how to do Fringe. And it was my first Fringe, and it's, it's daunting. Like, how do you do this? What buttons do you push? Trying to get into like a cockpit of an airplane or a jet, just, so he's very comforting, and he has several theaters. So I kind of went and followed his path with the Asylum, and had booked a theater, Asylum C, which is a perfect size for my show. Like, it was a little theater on Santa Monica Boulevard. And but he has so much information and is so organized, and he's so helpful and so friendly. And the Asylum is like a community of fringers where you support each other's work, and you can hear each other's, you can share with each other the process of trying to put a show together. And it's really wonderful, really. I'm going to meetings now online, and we were doing a few in person, and just so helpful. What did I have to write? I wrote it for the workshop, and in the workshop, I had no idea what I was going to write. But Deborah, she says, okay, everybody, we're going to start. I have my notebook, because I'm going to ask you a question, and you're going to write the answer. And she goes, and you have 7 minutes, and then you're going to start going up, and then you're going to perform it. I said, oh, okay, well, that's the process. So she asked the question, but that question is one of those things I was talking about, like the bones, like, oh, okay. But it was just one of those questions that was just like, I didn't want to stop answering it. Right. And it turned into this show. It just snowballed into this show. I mean, once I started, I was committed, and I just really wanted to tell that story. It's a musician's journey into acting at 50. So the tagline is changing careers at 50, ... can save a life. Like, it literally saved my life. Like I mentioned, I had gone to a therapist, and the therapist said I wasn't opening up. She says, you're an artist, because I play the piano. You're an artist, take an acting class, you'll work it out in there. And but for what it was like a grief counseling type of situation. And but I felt like for what I was going through, I had fallen in the arms of a bunch of actors, and that's kind of where I needed to be. That's where I needed to land, I started acting at 50 because of a suggestion from a therapist, and just fell in love with it, and just at 50 years old. And at 52, I started working as an actor, and just started doing television shows. And I actually got, just within the last couple of weeks, I'm pinned. Like, I'm in the final running for a pretty big part, for pretty big directors, which is, I wasn't planning that, wasn't my plan, but it just happened. What I would love for people to get out of it is that it's never too late to find something that makes you happy. What is it? I mean, if you have to change courses in your life to find happiness, maybe that's not such a bad idea. And for myself at 50, I changed careers and became an actor, from being a composer and a musician. But I think now, because of COVID and everyone just being kind of locked up and reevaluating their lives, I think the theme has kind of branched out to like a global theme, right? Reevaluating where I am, what's making me happy. So it's okay to reevaluate. I guess that's the thing. Why should people go to my Playwright Fringe Festival? Well, I play the piano in it, and that's my main thing. And it's an interesting story. So it's an interesting story because I'm on the stage by myself, but I do have a keyboard on stage, a piano. Not as an instrument, but as like my best friend. Like, that is the one buddy that has never left my side. So many events in my life have happened at the piano, or because of the piano, or, it's just that it's always there. So it's an interesting thing to see all these things happen because of that one thing, right? And that's where the Ivory Thread comes from. I use a phrase like that they use in filmmaking a lot. The narrative thread. What is the narrative thread of a film or a story? So my narrative thread is a piano. So I call it the ivory thread. It's just kind of woven. Even when I'm telling you about becoming an actor, I'm still telling you about the piano is still kind of the topic, like it or not. I mean, it just kind of is. So it's that story about transitioning into a new career, and it's interesting that it's being told around a piano here and there. It's not all piano, but it's just there to go over to, and so it makes it interesting. I think they would enjoy it. What am I looking forward to see while I'm performing at Fringe? I am looking forward to seeing a lot of plays. I mean, I'm excited to perform this for 4 shows, and because it's exhilarating. I mean, it's a rush. Like honestly, like backstage before to do something live as opposed to being on a set. I mean, it's just it's frightening, but I can imagine it being like standing at the edge of the plane opening before you jump out with a parachute, like that moment. But I mean, it's a rush and it's just exhilarating. I mean, it's kind of addicting. That and just being part of Fringe and being in that community. I mean, I have a list that I'm making up of all the plays that I want to see, of people I've met and clips I've seen, and just being in that community. And it's getting pretty long. Like I'm going to be busy for a month, but I'm just super excited to see all these shows. Last night there's a thing that Fringe does. It used to be live. It's called the Cabaret, the Fringe Cabaret, and people who are doing shows can go up and do 3 minutes to 5 minutes of their show, and you just do a little clip. And they used to be live, but last night it was on YouTube, and there's several more to go. So I'm kind of getting a glimpse into what's going up, and wow, I mean, from music to dramatic to the quirky, I mean, there are some true geniuses in this city. Really, you're going to see some amazing. You're going to see some amazing work. There's some really gifted theater people in Hollywood. It's mostly thought of as a film and TV town, but yeah, there are some gifted playwrights here and performers, definitely. Well, the Fringe Festival was created in Edinburgh, in the 40s as a fringe. It's on the fringe of the actual theater. If I can think of an analogy or think of something that's similar, for myself, I really love film festivals because of the fact they have an event that's short film festivals. Right? And a lot of these plays are 40 minutes or less, right? They're on the shorter end. But I can go to an event or spend a day at a film festival, and at a short fest, I could see 6 or 7 films, right? And I mean, like, that's a fantastic way to just really, you can see a lot of great content in a short amount of time. And especially with live theater, with live theater, which is when the lights go down and your phones are off, and you can just get immersed into a situation. It's very different than watching something at home, which is difficult. And yeah, it's immersive. It's an experience, and it's happening in front of you, right? So that makes it exciting. So my production has been accepted into the United Solo Festival. I just found out this week in New York City on 42nd Street and Theater Row. So it's going up on November 18th at Theater Row on 42nd Street at 7:30 p.m. So that I just found out I'm going to New York. I'm going to Times Square. So this little thing of just going to that, taking that one Fringe ticket that one day turned into this, and I'm just really excited and honored, honestly, to just be in this world for this moment. Pretty cool. Hi, my name is Michael J. Gonzales, and if you liked what you saw here about my show, please come on down to Fringe. I'm performing for 4 performances in August. You can find more information at theivorythread.com.